Today we have with us Santosh Menon, Managing Director of BBDO Lanka. Santosh, thank you for joining with us.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a bit about BBDO's operations, both global and local?
BBDO is actually a global agency with 289 offices around the world. It started operations, of course, way back in the 1800s in the USA, but today it's probably the most creatively awarded agency network around the world. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago in Spikes Asia, BBDO again got the Network Agency of the Year award, and if you really look at Cannes, it's been the Network Agency of the Year in 2007, 2008, right up to 2011. So BBDO is known for doing exceedingly high quality creative work globally. In every market it excels in terms of its creative product. So that's really what sets BBDO apart from other agencies around the world.
Can you face to the camera?
Yeah, like this?
Yeah, just talk to this.
Oh, okay.
Sri Lanka's advertising industry faces the skill challenge. Sri Lanka's advertising industry faces the eternal dilemma of skilled talent shortage. What is your perception on this?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's happening right now in Sri Lanka is the fact that the advertising industry is growing, and I think the only thing that can hamper the growth is if we are unable to meet the skills requirement in the industry, and therefore I think we as an agency are thinking aggressively about what we must do to expand the talent pool which currently exists for the advertising industry, and how to bring in more talent into the advertising industry. I'm quite certain that other agencies in Sri Lanka are also thinking and doing stuff for themselves, and as an industry I think over the years things have been done, but more needs to be done, and I think it's going to be an issue which is going to be a serious concern for most agencies.
With Sri Lanka's economic booming, advertising agencies are mushrooming all over the country. Do you view this as being positive?
Yeah, I mean, see, fact is that whenever there's an industry, a market, and when the market grows, different people see opportunities and try to make their presence felt. Eventually, the good guys who are able to consistently deliver high quality work and are committed to the industry will survive, and the people who are not able to deliver the goods will not be there in the marketplace. So I suppose that's a natural cycle that happens in any industry.
In your view, do you think that Sri Lankan youth are creative enough to face today's world?
No doubt about it. I think fact of the matter is that the creative people, the really creative people, need to be informed and made aware about the fact that they have potentially a good career to follow and pursue in advertising. That's the first thing. Second thing is, once they are in the industry, if they are given the right exposure and if they are given the right environment, I have absolutely no doubts in my mind that the Sri Lankan talent will stand itself in great glory globally.
What can Sri Lanka's advertising industry learn from other Asian countries?
Yeah, I think one of the things which other Asian countries have been doing is to really define their own kind of advertising. I think if you take India, for example, I think the success story of India started from India expressing itself in an Indian way to the world. And once India was able to do that, and Indian ad agencies and ad people were able to do that consistently, they started winning awards internationally. Now let's take the example of Sri Lankan cricket. We had Kumar Sangakkara here recently who said when the Sri Lankan cricket team expressed themselves as Sri Lankans, they became world champions. In the same way, I think if we are able to express ourselves creatively in the advertising industry, I have no doubt that over a period of time we will be excelling as far as global awards are concerned.
What are your global brands and what are the campaigns you all have done for these brands?
See, if you really look at BBDO around the world, we've been doing campaigns from market to market. Some excellent campaigns for Procter & Gamble, Gillette. Some really effective campaigns here in Sri Lanka for Fonterra, whether it is for Anchor, whether it is for New Dale, whether it's for Anchor Media Pro, whether it's for Andleen, whether it's for Rati. These are all exceedingly distinct, highly effective, highly memorable campaigns which I think most consumers would recall and replay with a lot of pride and with a lot of happiness. So we've, as BBDO Lanka, we've created some very good advertising for one of our global clients, which is Fonterra. But across the board, BBDO has been doing work for Fonterra, been doing work for Gillette, which is P&G, doing work for Visa very recently in India. So these are some of the campaigns that I can talk about.
BBDO reckons itself to be a force for good.
Yeah.
Is this just a buzzword or is it in your DNA?
This is a line we actually created for BBDO Lanka on the basis of what we did in the last 1 year. So when we actually, August 2012, we actually celebrated a year of being in Sri Lanka. And when we looked at all the stuff that we had done, I can tell you a few of the things, which is that we became South Asia's first carbon neutral advertising agency. We were the first ones in Asia to actually create a billboard which cleaned air. We actually perhaps are one of the few agencies which has a thriving operations in Mauritius, where we have Sri Lankan creative ideas being used for a brand in Mauritius. So somebody in our network actually said, you know what, we've been a force for good, and we felt that given what we've achieved in that 12-month period, that it is a nice term to use for us, and it kind of also gives us a perspective and a vision for what we should deliver in the future as well. And so it's not really a buzzword, but it kind of, I think we can call it definitely an ambition for BBDO Lanka to which we've done in 1 year, and for us to keep making sure that we achieve that year after year in Sri Lanka.
Looking back, how do you see the progress which you have achieved during the last year?
It's been good. It's been good. 1 year has been a very exciting period. I already told you some of the things that we did, but there's still a long way to go. One of the things which Chris Thomas, who's our CEO and chairman, told us is that we need to create work which is made out of Sri Lanka, but they should look at it and think that this could be from any other part of the developed world. So I think that's a really strong vision to have, and we still need to work towards making that happen. And that's a vision we have, to create some exceptional work which is globally recognized, and exceptional work created by the Sri Lankan team which is globally recognized. And that's really an ambition, and we are actively pursuing that for our years ahead.
So what are your plans for 2012 and beyond?
We are pursuing high quality work on our current clients. So you will continue to see us delivering great work on Fonterra. We recently acquired a project with the Nations Trust Bank. So we want to make sure that whatever we do on Nation Trust Bank is also of very high quality. We have Mega Life Sciences, and we've just been given some projects by Mega Life Sciences. We intend to really focus on those pieces of work. Also, I think our Mauritius business is growing. We've signed up for a year with the client, and we intend to grow the Mauritius market, and that's another big ambition we have, as well as to attract new clients in Sri Lanka who can who will work with us and see our energy and who will see our dedication to high quality creative work.
In today's context, advertising industry not only needs to be digital oriented, but brands will have to be focus oriented. What is your perception on this?
Yeah, I mean, every brand has to kind of find a distinct space for itself, whether it is BBDO or whether it's any of our clients' brands. So to that extent, yes, and I think digital is an area of growth. It's an area where every agency is actually trying to do stuff, but it's also an area which is evolving. It's got its own, fluid energy to it. People are not able to really predict what will happen in the digital world in the next 2 years. So it's a very exciting area, and we are also entering the digital arena, and we would like to create an impact there as well.
Do you view digital advertising and social media to be competing or complementing traditional media and advertising?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. This question has been asked to me before as well, and it's an interesting question. One of the statistics coming out of the West is that magazine readership has actually increased thanks to iPad. So, if anything, traditional mediums are finding it meaningful to be in the digital mediums and to communicate to consumers through the digital medium. It's interesting that I can't get Economist very cheap as a hardcover magazine here in Sri Lanka, but I can access it on my iPad and I can read it exactly the way I would read the magazine otherwise. So to that extent, I am now a reader of many more international magazines today myself through my iPad than I was a year ago. So I don't think they're competing. I think they complement each other, and if anything, I think the digital revolution is increasing the readership of traditional media as well.
Tell us a bit about yourself and how you ended up in advertising.
Well, I'm basically from Mumbai. I was born, brought up in Mumbai.